Hey, what's going on, guys? It's inceptionxx here, and today we're going to be talking about FIFA 16 and the general concept of the game and how it's working so far. So far, as I'm playing the game, I realize that a lot of people are complaining about certain aspects of the game, like the pace and the dribbling, and honestly, I personally think that they're very well balanced. Now, I understand the opinions of people when they say that, they're concerned about those two things, but honestly, there's a lot of certain factors that make it good that pace is not that important, and the dribbling is not as good as people think they are, but it's actually not as bad as people say it is. For the dribbling, it depends on the player that you have. Like, for instance, when I use players like Juan Mata or even Schneiderlin, they didn't feel bad when they dribbled, but when I use players that were worse, they felt bad when they were dribbling. It's a general feeling of the player when you're playing with them when they feel like shit, basically. The dribbling wasn't that bad. I actually liked the turns in this game. The demo was so much worse. The demo was way worse. I hated it. It was to the point where when you did a turn with them, like, they took too many touches, right? Like, you would just do one simple touch, and all you want to do is do one simple touch, turn your direction, pass. That's what I hated in the demo, and that's what I thought was going to be in the full game. Well, full game is always different. I was playing the early access, and it was a lot better. Now, the big thing that people are talking about a lot is the sprint, or the pace, you would say. Honestly, with the pace, it's actually really good. Like, players that are fast are still fast. It's not like the demo where, like, if I used a Bumyang and they had a player that had like 34 pace, they would catch up to me. It's not like the demo. The full game is really different. You really have to think about what you want to do before you actually do it. Like, when you make a pass, you can't just make certain passes that you were able to do in the previous game. For instance, a lot of people are complaining that the passes are not as consistent. And sometimes I do agree, sometimes the passing is a little bit off. There's certain moments where I wanted to do like a first touch pass, and it's just like really kind of simple, right? Because they're facing the person and everything, and they just do a one-time pass. Sometimes, not all the time, but I would say maybe 15% of the time, it kind of goes away from the person a little bit too much, the person you're initially trying to pass to. But it's not that big of a deal. People are complaining about passes being made when, in all honesty, it's kind of hard for those passes to be made in general. For instance, in FIFA, for the old games, or the older games, like FIFA, the past ones, FIFA 15, 14, 13, you were able to do turnaround passes. Like, when I say a turnaround pass, I mean that you're facing this way, and then on a first time touch, you can just twist your body and pass it in that direction. I understand why people like that. I mean, in a general concept for the game, it makes sense that people, like that. That's a thing. But the thing is that when you actually think about it, it's really difficult in real life to turn your body like that and pass it with such precision, right? They still do it in this game. Sometimes they get it right, sometimes they don't. But the times they don't get it right, it actually makes sense. For instance, in this game, you have to pass it back a lot. So, for instance, you can be a target man. If you pass the ball to, say, someone like Aguero in a 4-2-3-1 formation, a lot of the times you're going to have to pass it back. It makes sense, though, because if the guy is right behind you trying to intercept the ball, it's easier to pass the ball back than to go forward because he's just going to get the ball easily from you. The problem in the older FIFA games is that there was so much time to intercept the ball, and the players just wouldn't do it. They would just wait for the person in front of you to get the ball. In this game, they do such a good job with interceptions and making it easier for you to intercept the ball only when a pass length, like time, is big. For instance, if I'm passing at a medium length, right, and the person is not alone and there's another guy right next to him, if I don't put enough power into that pass, my defender will get to that. That's really important because in the older games, there have been plenty of times where the ball just passed by your foot. Literally, like, I would say 10 centimeters away from your foot, and your player wouldn't touch it. The interceptions in this game are much more consistent. Now, mind you, that kind of still happens sometimes, but it's not always, they're not always going to get it right. The shooting feels natural. I think people always say that the shooting is very overpowered and the finessing is overpowered, but in a general sense, if you pass someone's defense, you should be able to score because you should have more of a chance of scoring than missing, but you have to do the right things. For instance, when people say finessing is overpowered, finessing isn't overpowered because if I'm 1v1 with the keeper and I position my player in a certain way to score, finesse shots should be overpowered. I should be able to score them if I'm in a 1v1 situation and I'm in around the middle of the area. I understand if you're on the outside of the 18-yard box or the outside of the other, like on either side of the 18-yard box, it should be harder to score, but it's kind of like that, you know? It's not easy to score a finesse shot because people like go onto you right away. Like CDMs, if you use 4-2-3-1 or 4-1-4-1, they attack you right away, right? If you're using the players properly. You know, the shooting is very consistent. I actually really like the shooting. Moments that I missed in 1v1 opportunities, I kind of agreed with the game. I was like, you know what? Maybe I should have shot it earlier. Maybe I should have dribbled a little bit more, passed the ball, sweat it, whatever it is, right? Like, I can agree more with the game than I agree with myself. Because last year when I used to play FIFA, I used to always say stuff like, oh, you know, this should have happened or this should have happened. And a lot of the times you would think that you're right. When you play this game, when you make a mistake, for me, as far as I'm concerned, and in my opinion, you guys can have your own opinions and I totally understand, but in my opinion, it feels more consistent, you know? When I make a mistake, I can see that I made a mistake. I'm like, when I make a pass, I'm like, okay, you know what? That pass could have been differently, you know? Maybe I could have, you know, rotated my player's body a little bit to pass it to somebody else. Maybe I could have rotated my player in a certain way to shoot the ball in a certain way. Everything is different. This game is completely different from older games because of the balanced gameplay. Strong players are actually useful. The dribbling, I understand people don't like, but it's actually good. You just have to get used to it, man. I think that the game is really good for what it is right now. I think it's fine. But again, I only played like 6 matches because, you know, EA Access only gives you 10 hours. And I try to spend my time wisely, right? Within going through the EA Access and then going on a web app to, you know, trade and, you know, make my basic teams and, you know, build my ultimate team like that. So far, everything is going good. I like Ultimate Team. When I make a mistake, I feel like it's me making the mistake and not the game making the mistake. You guys are gonna see some clips where it's like still not my fault, but I understand in FIFA, you know, this kind of stuff happens. I can't get these kind of things right. So it's like, when something happens to you, you kind of have to have some sort of understanding. Like, I understood once I kicked this ball out, I was like, shit, man, I screwed up. I don't know, man. Like, I'm enjoying this game. I think everything is going well so far. I mean, it's kind of disappointing that I only have like 10 hours of gameplay. Right now, I think I have 8 hours left. But it's so much fun. It's actually really fun. I actually really enjoyed playing it when I was streaming it earlier today. So, yeah, man, I've been enjoying it. But anyways, that's my opinion on the game. I understand that you guys will have your own opinions, but I actually think that this game, as of right now, is a really, really good game. But I said the same thing last year for FIFA 15 in the beginning. I said how it was a really, really good game. Then they did a patch, and then everything changed. But I don't think they're going to patch this game that much. I think they're only going to patch like certain things, like maybe headers, because headers are still pretty overpowered. But like crossing is not, if you guys know what I mean. Like if they get the cross off, the heading is overpowered, but if they don't get the cross off, it's not overpowered. And it's not really easy to cross in this game in general, right? But in terms of patches, I don't really see them doing anything too drastic because everything right now is actually pretty well balanced. So it'd be kind of disappointing to see them change that and making pace better, or, you know, maybe improve the dribbling and the passing just a tiny bit. And then, like, I would see where they would improve it. But, you know, the AI is beautiful. I think their interceptions are great. Like, when I make a pass and the opposition intercepts the ball, I'm like, you know what? That actually makes sense that he intercepted that ball. Like, I shouldn't have made that pass because he was making this run or he was too far away from me. So I think it's really good, man. I think the game is awesome. And, yeah. So that's pretty much for this review. You know, you guys will have your own opinions. I know I already said that. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy these clips. It's just some funny clips in the game, you know, just stupid things that happen. But you can kind of see where things go right and where things go wrong. So hope you guys enjoy this video. Please drop a thumbs up on this video today, guys, and I'll see you guys in the stream tomorrow. No, are you serious? This game, bro, is so stupid sometimes, man. Are you serious? Yes! Why did I get a penalty? I don't even give a shit.